my pleasure to be with you this morning. Thank you very much for the invitation, W.Media, for being here, for organizing this very interesting panel in our much beloved industry. So today, as you mentioned, we have Mr. Rashid Alahmedi, Chief Operating Officer for InfraX at Digital DEWA, which is the Dubai Electricity Water Company, their ICT arm. He's a very seasoned professional in technology and ICT, former DU executive, holding leadership roles such as Senior Director of Special Projects and External Affairs. I would like to welcome you this morning.
Thank you.
And also with us, Giorgio Tedeschi, Vice President of Strategy at E&D International, where he shapes the company global strategy across telecom and digital business, with a background in top-tier consulting and international experience across Europe, Middle East, and Asia. We're very also happy to have you here with us today.
Thank you very much, likewise.
So today, as mentioned, we're going to discuss about what is the main driver that will shape the future of Middle East in technology and innovation, whether it's going to be more driven by business strategy, business vision, or technological innovation and breakthroughs that we're going to be seeing in the coming years. What do you think on this?
First of all, I would like to thank W.Media for hosting this event and for giving us the opportunity to be part of this panel. To quickly run through the theme of the panel, I would say the telecom market today doesn't lack any business vision. We see from numbers and point of view, most of the telecom operators, they are doing well. The growth year on year is promising, supported by the advancement of the technology. So also I would say that the weight of the technology innovation is already there, because in the region we are always promoting the latest when it comes to technology and supporting the advancement of these technologies. Where I will try to highlight the gap related to the market, which is not the business vision, not the technology innovation, but I would say the business innovation. So how we can utilize the vision that we have and how we can utilize the technology advancement we have to create a business innovation models that fulfill the need of the new era of technology advancement and technology utilization, either from utilizing it in industrial use and using it for the advancement of AI technology and enabling more smart city use cases. So we are today in, call it paradigm shift, to really go from the old business models and come up with the new business innovation models to really unleash the value of the technology and the investment that has been made in the past years, and see how we can drive a new roadmap that utilize the technology advancement that we reached to date to offer something new which is accessible and enabling the utilization of that technology on the industrial use cases. And maybe through the panel also we will try to discuss some of these examples.
By the way, good morning and really welcome to this event. Look, my background is mostly strategy, so this question is a bit tricky and can be a bit biased. But I would say, ideally, both of them, you want to have like a strong strategic vision and be part of the technology innovation. I would say, especially in this region, as I was saying, like most of the telco are doing very well and they have plenty of resources. So and there is access to technology, right? So it's very difficult to then differentiate if you can just want to use technology per se. I believe that what is a key driver and a potential differentiating factor is having a really strong strategy and business vision. And what I mean by that is really try to understand the path to monetization on the technology that are available, right? And without this, we have seen a lot of missed opportunity, no? I mean, around telco, you see a lot of discussion about 5G as a missed opportunity, right? Because I mean, in telco industry, say for years now, where are the use cases? I was discussing before, even in AI, right? Recently say 95% of the enterprise that have adopted AI, they saw zero impact in their business in the past 2 years, right? Again, like adopting technology is very easy, especially if you have resources and cash. But developing the right strategy and the right business vision, I think, is a key enabler to, and a key driver, actually, not an enabler to drive value, path to monetization, and most importantly, like shareholder value. So I would say technology innovation is super important, but I think it's more an enabler. And I think that the key driver that to create value is more really the strategy and the business vision.
Very interesting point of views. As you know, also, telecom and digital infra have been pivotal for technology search in the recent history, and they shape mostly like the world how we know it today, connected, dynamic, ever-evolving. But the question would be also like, what is their role in the digital national vision going forward? Because as of today, maybe yes, this industry has been enabling all of this, I would say, citizen and welfare in general for the nation, but should, you know, the sector itself have an advancement on its role into, you know, co-authoring the digital visions on the country for the coming years? What is your take on it? This should be also like their involvement in regulations maybe, or other areas that they can be involved towards building what's coming next for the vision for the next years?
So definitely, if we look into the co-authoring or co-development, today we see a lot of very successful examples that how partnership, either it is public-private or private-private partnership, created a success model that moved connectivity from being a commodity to something that enabled the digital agenda, meet the objective of the government digital requirements. And that kind of focused approach today, we see it on a lot of transformational programs, either from the telecom side by moving to the digital tech, or even if you look into the different utility and government entity trying to create a digital transformation program, like the program we did in DEWA by creating digital DEWA to enable and accelerate the utilization of this technology and the connectivity and create more ecosystem for smart cities enablement, for AI advancement in a way that it correlates with the role of the technology provider, and really try to bridge the gap from the industrial understanding. And I believe this is one of the crucial points in order to be able to create a coherent ecosystem, because at the end of the day, telco, they are good in what they are good at, but you need somebody from the industry, which is an expert matter, to really reflect the value of that technology, being able to blend the connectivity with the use cases, with the industry needs, and then come up, as we said, on the innovation business model and create that model in a way. And again, the key objective should be that we move from looking into the connectivity as a commodity, but we look at it as a co-authoring product development between the, either we do it private-private or even the private-public.
Yeah, Rashid, I mean, fully agree. I think it's historically, telco is seen like a key enabler, like providing infrastructure and connectivity, right? And then working with government agenda, right, to ensure that they're on the same page. I think that moving forward, there are like other opportunity where telco should be like a co-partner or creation of national vision. I have in mind like at least 3 things. I think number one, again, telco, they sit we sit on like a lot of data, a lot of information, and I think that we can work with the government using at best this information, for example, for urban development, for example, for optimizing transportation, and really creating a smart city with a lot of smart connectivity that create like a new urban environment where people can benefit on. Number two, I think that we are building a digital ecosystem, as I was saying, a digital platform that actually can create a lot of innovation in the society. We can expose our digital platform and really be the trigger of a lot of innovation and transforming a lot of industry and verticals in the country. So there's also this second part that I think is quite important and be part of the national agenda of the country. And I think number three also perhaps is good to talk, even though maybe in UAE is a bit less relevant, but like talk in the region also about the digital inclusion, right? I mean, there are people living a bit in remote areas, and we can not only provide connectivity, but again, services, right? And really making sure that, I mean, the social economic gap is closed as soon as possible. So we say it's really connectivity plus. And we really, I mean, maybe I'm too optimistic, but I think that really we are on a position to co-design the future of the society together with the country.
Thank you very much. Very interesting points. Also, closing the digital gap is something to be considered, of course, as a benefit or also a responsibility of which we are here involved in this industry, because it opens the door for the services of today. I mean, no connectivity, no services. So yes, much in agreement. And talking about how enabling this towards investments, and this is something that different people might have different views. What should leaders invest in first? Technology, assuming that the business case will come at some time. This has been, I guess, like part of the thinking or the past years. Or on the other side, business case driven. And in this case, on the business case, which KPIs we should look at? ROI, or also other indirect KPIs like welfare of the citizens per se, or connecting the disconnected? What should be the key, let's say, decision turn point for taking on a new technology?
Again, like different perspective, if you look at it from different region, from different industry. In the UAE, we always try to put ourselves on the forefront of adaptation, being the first to try, the first to adapt, the first to enable. And this is being reflected today from a model that, and we always try to benchmark from the school thought of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, do it and they will come. So most of the investment that is being made today from the operators, from the digital infrastructure that's being put, it's a good investment that is being made to attract the indirect value that is coming to the economy and to the society, bringing brands, bringing names, hyperscalers to look into this place as a potential place to start their services from it. So I would say, if you look at it, while having the principle and right basis to really invest and be in the forefront, UAE always a good example to take it from that perspective. In other regions, they always take proportions that let's fulfill what we have today, grow slowly, build the use cases and the demand, and then invest. So I would say different strategies, but today if you really want to be in the pioneering place, if you really want to be as fast as technology evolve, you need to take some sort of bold decision. You need to take some sort of pre-investments and take the leading seat. And again, this is what will make you take the competitive edge when it comes to competition and other indirect activity that could be related to such decision. So I believe that today technology always evolves, so we need to be ready for it. How your investment is smart and how you are flexible in taking such decision, it's again something that should be driven on the strategic level, and it should be studied. And accordingly, I'm sure that if you have the right strategy, you will have the right result.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a tricky question, right? Because, I mean, investment in telco usually are massive, right? I mean, it's super capital-intensive industry. So it's easy to say, okay, invest first and then see what happens, right? Because not like, I mean, irrelevant amount of money to invest. However, having said that, right, there are some, I would say, foundational technology that are emerging, or have been emerging in the past few years, like 5G, AI, and others. And if you don't invest first, you may lose quite a bit, right? And when you say, yeah, we need to build business cases, right? But initially it's very difficult. And been working in strategy for a long time, right? I mean, when there is a new technology, new foundational technology, at the beginning you don't know, right? So it's very difficult. So I tend to agree with Rashid that you need to be bold and start investing, but and this may be linked to the first question, right? I mean, it's not a technology roadmap decision, but it's a business vision decision. So you need always to think what is the end game and what is the strategy on all of this, right? And when you think a business case, in reality, you think about path to monetization, right? And opportunity and use cases and eventually return on the investment, right? So we say, you need to have this first mover advantage, and not only because you are the first to capture the opportunity, but because I think that once you are start investing and developing the technology, you can shape the ecosystem, you can drive the innovation, right? Not only adopt, but also drive. But the strategy part, the business vision part, need to be constantly evolved, constantly adapted, and it's a key driver, right? And again, going back of missed opportunity in telco is that 5G adoption, we launch 5G, and then you give to, for example, commercial unit, and they will build unlimited package, a bit of marketing and communication, and that's it, right? And then after 5 years, I mean, all complain, there was no clear path of communication, but I mean, because you didn't drive it, right? So I think that it's always important to put strategy first and technology as an enabler, and even in this kind of investment cycle, given also the size of this investment cycle, be very, very careful to make sure that we have the right return.
Thank you very much. Regarding investments, some years ago already started, but more recently it's even more important. The consideration of other factors such as sustainability, net zero strategies, more and more like big investment funds require certain KPIs regarding compliance with sustainable targets. What is your point of view with that, considering that there's a huge dilemma coming our way to support the surge of AI and other technologies that in reality are high consuming, and how to balance the needs of the market and the requirements of the market with what also the clear reality for this industry also going forward?
This is a good opportunity to share with the audience the journey of DEWA, introducing digital DEWA. This was part of an acceleration program of Dubai 10X. And throughout the journey, digital DEWA was established under 4 pillars: renewable energy, battery storage, artificial intelligence, and digital services. So when we created an ecosystem of digital utility or utility telecom, we looked into sustainability as key pillars of enabling such digital vehicle. So today, DEWA invests a lot on renewable, and we have a great example of Mohammed bin Rashid Solar Park, one of the biggest solar farm in the region. We are investing heavily in battery storage and battery storage development. And when it comes to enabling the digital services using sustainability elements, we have our sister company, Moro Hub, one of the largest data centers fully energized by green energy, serving a lot of hyperscalers and a lot of government entities here in Dubai. So we believe that sustainability will become an important element of any digital transformation program. A lot of the hyperscalers who are coming to provide their services, one of their KPI is their CO2 fingerprints. And everybody today is looking into how I can reduce it, either operationally, either by hosting it on the right infrastructure, by adapting the latest efficient technology when it comes to power consumption. So in that level, I believe the identity of Digital DEWA and the subsidiary that we established is really to help creating that platform for other people to utilize and to enable their product and services and to put the sustainability element on their offering, on their requirement, and to ensure that their KPIs from sustainability is being met.
Right, I mean, for a pure telco perspective, right? So first, I mean, sustainability is super important, right? I mean, and again, telco are partner of the country, right? And country have like a 2050, I think, net neutrality target that we need to comply with. But telco are really in general like responsible for like a very small part of global emission, maybe like 3-4%. I mean, you can check. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's like low single digit. Now, data center can be a huge part of the equation, but again, I think that the largest data center, the AI data center, and I think that they're discussing maybe in the other room, they will not really be under the scope of traditional telco, right? This hyperscale will build this massive infrastructure. I mean, telco will be part of the connectivity, but again, not really impacting the emission. Having said that, it is in the top of our agenda. Actually, in EN Group, we have devised a strategy that have like 4 different pillars, and one of the 4 pillars is fully dedicated to sustainability. So it's in our core, and it's one of our priority. I think there are 2 aspects on this, right? On one end, we can optimize the way we work. We can have a more efficient network, more efficient equipment, more efficient way that we do business. And doing so, we can reduce and having a direct impact on sustainability. But I think that most importantly, what we can do is what we can do indirectly, right? And also there I see there is a couple of different angles that we can have an impact. One, we can push our suppliers to be more sustainable, to be more efficient, and to comply much more to the sustainability targets. And number 2, I think that with our services, that again is not only connectivity, but much more active and value-added services. So we can really transform the way that society work, and they can benefit in multiple ways, including sustainability. You know, for example, smart meters, for example, smart grids, right? All the smart cities, they can have a huge impact on this, like traffic and transportation, another huge impact. No? And even if you want like the core connectivity and the platform on which we have core communication that enable remote working, right? I mean, that have a huge impact on transportation and savings on emission when people adopting having a meeting and session through digital platforms, for example, Zoom, for example, Microsoft Teams, rather than traveling. Of course, there is a huge impact on this. Right? And even ourselves, right? For example, we adopted a 3 days week in the office, so that means that 2 days a week that's remote working, and then we cut a lot of transportation. This can be enabled only with like a very good connectivity and services that can make sure that we work remotely in the same way and as efficiently as we do when we are in our premises. So there's these 2 things, right? Because if you just look at the 3-4% of emission of the industry, even if we reduce by 50%, still, I mean, the global emission will be untouchable, not like other utilities or, I guess, like steel industry, where actually the emission are the largest part, right? But, I mean, when we look at what we can actually do to support other industry to be more sustainable, I think that the impact can be way beyond this 3-4% that was mentioned before.
Thank you. You mentioned new ways of working, like working remotely, working in the office, but also we will face very soon, and we are already seeing it, new ways of living in our cities. Cities are evolving at a speed, well, if we look at it in the big picture, quite fast. There are already technologies that are yet to be fully developed or implemented, I would say, but available to take us to the next level in terms of being connected in the city and being able to offer citizens other type of services. Typically, public utilities, and you will know this for sure, have been playing pivotal roles in terms of defining those smart cities structures, urban planning, development, etc. As of today, maybe telcos and connectivity players are not sitting in the right tables today. What is your take on this? And should they be sitting in that table to decide what is happening and what is the future of our cities?
So to answer your question, I would say they are more than happy to sit on the table. So at any point of time, and as we mentioned before, the partnership, right? So today the industries are converged. And accordingly, today, if we want to enable the smart city, what does this mean? It means today in the AI era, connect the not connected. The next billion connected users to the telecom network will not be mobile phones, will be sensors, will be smart city applications that will be enabled to have every single street light, to have every manhole, to have every mission-critical element in the city connected, so you can capture the data in real time, and then you can introduce what we call it big data, AI applications, and really unleashing the value of what we can develop to co-create the products and services of the future. I will give you a few examples of how the utilities business will really be synergized with the telecom requirements. Let's take the example of the EV cars. Today we have a hype of people buying electric vehicles. We as a utility want to ensure that we have the right infrastructure for your car to be charged either when you go to the office or when you go to the mall. How we will be able to know that your car is 20% on battery while you are driving to the office or while you are in the mall or going back to the home? We need that information because we need to direct the grid toward the demand. So today we created on the normal traditional way, we just connect every home. We know that you have 10 lights, this is consume X watt. We just create that capacity as a default and we plan it for the maximum threshold. But in the future we will have mobility of power demand. So how we can really make the grid smart, how we can really be able to correlate the data that has come from the car to the utility to ensure that most of the cars, they are in the office in the morning, so accordingly ensure that your demand, which is coming from Mohammed bin Rashid Solar Park, which is green, going to the offices area. That kind of synergy, that's kind of sitting on the table together to create that kind of use cases, to create that kind of synergy to enable the smart city is what is required to really think onto the pain point of the future from now. And as I mentioned in the first question, come up with a business innovation model to enable these use cases and to ensure that it's bringing the return of investment will be required for the future telcos.
Yeah, I mean, fully agree. I mean, and as a telco, we sit on an incredible amount of data. And as you say, right, I mean, the next billion or even more connection will be to IoT, right, to sensor and so on. So we will sit in even larger amount of data, right? And we don't want to sit on this data. We want to make something out of this. And I think that there are like two different patterns going forward. I think one we really want to improve the way that citizen lives. I mean, with more services. I mean, what you mentioned, and there will be more and more that very difficult to think of, but for sure improving the way that people are living. Thinking about transportation, thinking about maintenance not only of the telco network, but also of the DEWA network with sensor, making sure that nobody have leakages, but actually you can repair before the leakage happen. So, I mean, improving a lot and transforming the way people are living. But then on the other end, and again, back of, perhaps my role in strategy and trying to create a return for our shareholder. I mean, for telco, a way to monetize all of this, right? Monetize with connectivity, but also with services, and as you mentioned, putting an AI layer on top of it, and so, I mean, trying to find more solution for enterprise and consumer that they can benefit on, and we can actually monetize on our investment. So we say it's really like utilities and telco will be key driver for the smart city concept, right? And we see the smart city like evolving slowly, but I think we're at an inflection point now with all the technology become more and more mature, and there will be an inflection point both in terms of transforming the way that we live in our society, but also the way that we can monetize the opportunity.
If I may, a mini follow-up question on this very interesting topic, two things actually. Shall the players in connectivity and telecoms be on a role of orchestrating, like more than enabling and waiting for others to come and buy their services? Should they be driving this agenda? And my second follow-up on this would be, how are we as this industry gonna grab a larger share of the services revenues, which as of today we might be lagging behind in getting that part of the share of that piece of the pie, might not be reflecting the true investments, as you mentioned, like in terms of capex on the technologies.
I mean, my perspective is like, especially for smart city, IoT, all of these solutions, I mean, will not be developed by telco, right? I mean, so there are a lot of developers that will come up with a solution that we will not be able to think on, right? I mean, and it's very important to open up the infrastructure that we have, and as you say, maybe orchestrate and find the right partnership, and making sure that also some of these solutions will have to interact with our network. So we have like a API solution that can be an opportunity to monetize, but also an opportunity for developers to access more tools, more information, and anyway create something that is super valuable. I mean, and that's like very personal thing. A lot of time when the last 5 years, when the type of smart city IoT solution that I heard, I mean, when people were describing to me, were super excited. I didn't find them very inspiring, right? And that's because it's one. But when you put all of these together, you will find a lot of things that will change the way that telco do business, but also people will live and really transform in the society.
I would add, we should not miss the opportunity that we had during the OTT hype in the early years when telcos start to be impacted directly on their revenue, and the OTT start to really overtake the revenue from the telecom business and position the connectivity to become a commodity. And at that time, and I'm ex-telco, and I feel a little bit pity regarding the reaction at that period of time, because we were focusing on the core. Let's focus on the core. And I think today, if you see the different transformation program that's been made by the different telecom operator to move from telco to digital co or techco, this is the right strategy, but I'm sorry to say that it was a little bit late. Maybe I would like to applaud the model that is digital DEWA made by really looking into the future, because the utility will be impacted as the telco got impacted on the OTT. The utility will be impacted because the business model of providing power and electricity will be changed. Today, we are doing it centralized. In the future, you will have a solar panel on top of your roof. You will sell back to the grid. That means probably you may come like a net zero. So the utility will become only a transmission network. So that's why when DEWA did digital DEWA, is really to look into this problem from now and how we can monetize the assets and infrastructure that we have and create adjacent businesses. It's not to alternate the core business, but at least to overcome or to build a new business model that could complement the loss that may come from the disruption that may go to the core utility business. So I would say that today we are in a critical point that utilities should not only play the single role of orchestrating only, but they need to co-create, and they will not be able to do everything alone. That's why, as George mentioned, the collaboration, the synergy, not only with the utility, with other industry players, because definitely they have some enablement that they can drive through their access, through their expertise, through their understanding of the necessity and needs that is required by the city. That kind of new collaborative model to productize services together and offer it to the industry, to offer it to the market, it will be crucial to really build that kind of successful model in terms of really utilizing, again, as we said, utilizing the technology on the way that accelerate the digital transformation and enable the smart cities of the future.
The exciting times ahead for us that hopefully we'll be here to witness it. Finally, before we are coming towards the end of this session today, I would like to ask you some final remarks on seeing yourselves or seeing the industry in some years going forward. What would you say would be like the legacy, or what would be your wish, in another way to put it, that the role of connectivity, telecoms, infra is on the Middle East future?
Look, I was saying before, I think that telco role moving forward is really beyond connectivity, no? And we discussed like mainly three things, like providing more services, transforming really some of the industry, and we also close the social economical divide, right? I think this is the three main things that I think telco will do. I think especially in Middle East, given the fact that telco is not becoming only an enabler but a driver for innovation, and the fact that the investment in networks are significant, and the quality of network is world best. I mean, in UAE we have the fastest network, fastest mobile network, DEWA and EN together, both of them at the top of the ranking, and this is not only speed, right? I mean, all the investment in the network will enable all of these things, right? So I think that I think not as telco will be remembered, but as telco in Middle East, I think that will really bring Middle East and especially GCC as a key leader in innovation, because if you want, the gap that was like 30, 40 years ago in technology with US and Europe, it has been quickly closed, and we have really a platform and an infrastructure that can make us, our region leading in innovation. We've seen, for example, the incredible investment in AI, right? And this is back on the question you said before, right? I mean, what do? You do the business case, or you start investing? And AI, I mean, the business case is very tricky, right? I mean, there is a lot of talk. It is a bubble, right? I mean, because there is like $1 trillion investing in the data center, tens of billions in the LLM and so on, right? And then where is the monetization? So if you do this, you do nothing, right? And then these regions, luckily, I mean, have a lot of resources, and they're placing a bet in this. And I think that we're very well positioned to be one of the key players in innovation. I think that I hope our telco in this region will be remembered as one of the key drivers of this.
I echo what George mentioned, and I think today we are in position to really write the history, write the future. And when it becomes history, they would say that we are in an advancement place where now AI is being adopted, smart cities is being really unleashed from value point of view. We are connected fully. We have real-time data. We have the real meaning of smart city applications. At this point, because we enabled the connectivity to become from pure commodity and pipes to something that is really co-creator of a product and service. We need to really stop looking into the connectivity as the liquidity income of revenue for the telcos, to look into the total cost of ownership of how connectivity help in building those digital blocks on top of each other, and then by discounting connectivity, adding the AI part, adding the application part, adding the different value-added services, we still can say that we are profitable and we are doing even more profit, but don't focus only on the connectivity as the only thing that I can make revenue out of it. That's why the transformation that is happening today in the telecom industry, the different innovation model of new kind of telecom players like InfraX today, and telecom service provider which is only focusing on IoT, trying to connect the not connected, not focusing only on traditional GSM-based services, but we are looking into LP1 technology. We are looking into what we are serving DEWA with for the smart metering as a network which is well established, being able to enable it, monetize it in a way that is already been served its purpose, which is the utility business, but now uplifted and improve the capacity to have more external use cases to be on top of that and offer it in a competitive way to really enable the applications and the digital services. So I think this is the crucial points that we need to adapt today to ensure that in the future we will be the contributor who will be highlighted that those are the people who enabled the applications and the transformation of AI and smart cities.
And if I can actually add, I mean, just how this region is really blessed because of the vision of our country, like our country as UAE and some other neighboring country. And when I talk with colleagues in Europe, I mean, they're really still focused on connectivity, selling SIMs, right? And well, good or bad for them and for the business of telco, but also I think that the implication in the society, right, and the innovation that will come out of this, because it feels to me that the telco and utilities are not part of the national agenda, or not fully part of national agenda. So they're really seeing like as an enabler, and then innovation will come from somewhere else. Well, I think that in this region, I mean, that there's a much more clear and wise strategy and vision to have telco as orchestrator of all of this. So I think that there will something that moving forward will create incredible value for the region.
Definitely, telcos in this region and in all other industries have went out of their comfort zone, which we do not see in other regions in the world. Here they push to advance, they get out of what is typical. And what we see at PwC internationally is that when Middle East was a case for growth, and it still is a case for growth, now it's also a case for innovation, case for case studies, case for best practices that need to be, or that we export them to the rest of the world, and the people come here to look at what we are doing here, and not the other way around, which was maybe something that happened, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago. Now we shifted the paradigm and we are ahead thanks to the bold investments, trying to always be at the forefront, as Mr. Rashid mentioned, on the technology, and putting forward also the benefits for the citizens, which I also think in the end is why also we're here, like to make our world a little bit better for all of us. So I don't know if you have any additional final remarks that you want to make, please share.
I just want to take the opportunity here also and to thank the leadership of this country that put the right basis for our country to be in the forefront. I would like to thank the regulators who are really on top of this transformation, and by even trialing a business model like what was enabled through InfraX, for example, and awarding an IoT specialized type of license for a subsidiary under a utility business to offer IoT services. I think we are in the right dynamics, we are in the right places. I would like also to highlight the role of the legislation and regulation sandboxes that we have either locally or federally regarding really testing and coming up with proposals that enable this transformation. So I think we are blessed to be in such place and such region, and I think all of you today, you are part of this contribution, and we are looking really for a lot of advancement, especially with the investment that is being made, and it will be made as well, to really take the forefront seat and drive this transformation again together as a team.
Thank you very much, and thank you, the audience, for being with us today.